Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. Would you hedge your coaching future on Sam Darnold or Carson Wentz Perna? Wentz stop and Darnold coin are both expected to be traded this week or very soon. I have no idea which guy I would pursue if I were an NFL GM or head coach trying to improve my team. Darnold is younger at age 23, but we've seen Wentz actually play at a high level, something Darnold has yet to do. So today, I want to talk about these quarterbacks, their upside, and where they might be going. Also, I found footage of the world's worst stand-up pastor acting as a football destroyer in Houston, Jack Easterby.
Walked on water. Y'all think Jesus like crip walked on water, like he got out there, he was just like, hey, how y'all doing? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Okay, you can.
Russell Wilson just wants an offensive line because he's sick of getting sacked 400 times. But don't trust the clickbait articles telling you he's about to be traded. And sadly, the football world lost one of its greatest head coaches, Marty Schottenheimer, who passed away at age 77. My favorite Marty moment was when he cock-blocked Deion Sanders. We'll talk a little bit about that today.
There's a gleam, man. There's a gleam. Let's get the gleam.
It's the football offseason. What do? I keep making NFL news videos, so subscribe here and don't forget to come back. Football doesn't really stop till May. Today's episode is sponsored by buyraycon.com/thatsgood, which will blast 15% off your order of Raycon earbuds. Little friends for your ears, it's why they're called buds. Raycon is disrupting the world of big tech earhole sounds with their perfectly designed earbuds that are half the price of other premium wireless earbuds. You can get an array of color options that fit snugly in any earhole size. Raycons are wireless and do not have any weird-looking stems protruding from your noggin, and they have a 45-day free return policy. My home office is really close to the nursery, so I've been using them while I edit, so I don't wake the baby. I've put my pair through the ringer, and they are still cranking. So click my link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/thatsgood to get 15% off of your order. These bad boys sync easily with your Bluetooth, give you 6 hours of playtime, and honestly, with the case they come in, they always seem to be charged. Just like me, baby. The Carson Wentz trade speculation has been happening for a couple weeks now, but according to reports on reports read by alleged reporters, he could be traded this week. Now, I've heard several guesses as to where he might go and the compensation for him, so I wanted to start this episode with Howard Eskin's guess from Sunday. He works in sports radio, so this should fall somewhere on the spectrum of mildly accurate to complete fabrication. He tweeted, "Rumors all over tonight on Eagles trade of QB Carson Wentz. Here's what I'm told. Wentz and a draft pick to the Bears for number 1 draft pick." I think he means first round draft pick. QB Nick Foles and running back Tariq Cohen, who is coming off an ACL injury but should be ready in September. So Philly wants Mr. Philly Special himself back and Tariq Cohen. Seems like a weird lumping of guys and picks, but who the hell knows? Maybe the Eagles think quarterback passer ratings are like golf scores. The lower, the better. And Foles was one of the few QBs with a lower score than Wentz. "Bring back the guy who got the most Eagles," said the Philly front office. The Jets. They may move on from Sam Darnold, and since Joe Douglas got 2 first-round picks for Jamal Adams, Jets fans are assuming they will get at least that and more for Sam Darnold. Now, Darnold plays a more important position than Jamal Adams, but he finished 2021 with a worse passer rating than Carson Wentz, just barely, at 72.7 to Wentz's 72.8, both worse than Dwayne Haskins. In my opinion, neither of these guys will garner 2 first-rounders. They are not Matthew Stafford, and I don't think any teams in the league currently covet them like Sean McVay did with Matthew Stafford. That said, they are definitely worth someone investing something in to acquire. Wentz has been linked to the Bears and the Colts. the Jets have allegedly received 4 calls inquiring about Sam Darnold. Now, the Jets have said they're still evaluating the quarterback position with the new staff in place. That makes sense. So this trade, if it does happen, may actually take more time than we think it will. Now, the teams that have called on Darnold have not been revealed, but let's narrow it down to the teams who are in on Matthew Stafford and who are currently interested in Carson Wentz. Washington, Indy, Chicago, Carolina, maybe the 49ers, and who the hell knows what the Patriots are thinking. If anyone can fix Carson Wentz or get Darnold's full potential, it is Kyle Shanahan. My belief is that if you see an NFL QB play at a very high level, he can always return to that form. Carson Wentz has done that. He was having an MVP season in 2017 before tearing his ACL. Hell, in 2019, with one of the most depleted receiving corps in the league, he threw for over 4,000 yards and had 27 touchdowns to just 7 picks. Wentz would probably be very good in Indianapolis or in San Francisco. Indy makes the most sense, though, due to his relationship with Frank Reich, and that Indy has the money to pay him in addition to a very good defense, a great offensive line, and a talented stable of running backs. Sam Darnold is again just 23 years young. Basically the age most quarterbacks enter the NFL. He's ready to play in his 4th season. Adam Gase has ruined every quarterback he's ever touched, except for Peyton Manning, who did all of the touching in that relationship. The great mystery surrounding Sam Darnold is not which illness he will inexplicably contract every year, but just how much of his lack of development is Adam Gase's fault. I think 95% Gase's fault. But then again, Darnold just might not be a very good NFL QB. He has the physical tools, but over the last 2 seasons, he's played exactly 2 good games, 2 impressive games, back-to-back weeks in 2019 against a bad Raiders and a bad Washington defense. All that is to say, even though the ceiling might be higher for Sam Darnold, even though he is still very young and very cheap for one more season, I'd make a move for Carson Wentz if I were forced to choose. His regression in 2020 was one of the worst I've ever seen by a pro, but that pendulum might just swing back in the right direction, in a new setting and in a good environment. And let's be honest, that is probably not with the Chicago Bears offense. Now, Russell Wilson went on the Dan Patrick Show and said he thinks he should be more involved in the personnel decision-making process. It was reported that Russ was not happy with the way things were being run in Seattle, and then some teams called the Seahawks to see if they would be interested in trading him. They are not. I do not believe Wilson will be traded, but his dissatisfaction with the team's inability to give him the one thing he most needs, not a sous chef, a very good offensive line, is fair for Wilson to ask for, I guess. I don't know how involved quarterbacks should be in personnel decisions. I believe that needs to be an organic relationship with the coach and the GM. If I had a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, I'd be seeking their opinions to help inform me do my job, even if I ultimately went in a different direction. When you have elite talent, I think you keep them happy by letting them be heard. The amount of ego stroking that must occur at the top level of any industry would make even the most seasoned mono-job video veterans walk away with tired arms. Now, I'm not asking some fucking rookie quarterback how they would improve the offensive line, but when Russell Wilson says, I want to be involved, at the end of the day, it's your legacy, your team's legacy, it helps to be involved more, you at least make him think he's involved. To be fair to NFL teams, when quarterbacks sign these max contracts, they have to understand their franchise can't always afford to help them with the help they desire. I think all of these quarterbacks watched Tom Brady leave the most storied franchise in NFL history only to surround himself with more talent than he's ever had and win another Super Bowl with the least amount of effort he's ever had to put forth. And now, they want the same control of their own destiny. I also think we read a little too much into quarterbacks just being upset at not winning the Super Bowl. A team that will probably never get to a Super Bowl, Houston. the drama continues. Nick Caserio, the new GM, and the world's absolute worst wannabe stand-up, Jack Easterby, they have been getting rid of everyone that might not be 100% loyal to their destruction of the franchise. So Houston is doing everything wrong. The best way to alienate your new employees is by firing the people they love working with. Something Houston has done at an unprecedented rate over this last year. Essentially, the Texans are ready to get rid of anyone except for the people who don't want to be there. They refuse to take calls on Deshaun Watson trade offers, and now teams around the league are simply waiting for them to change their mind. Now, Bill O'Brien was part of the problem in Houston, but it has become abundantly clear the epicenter of the collapse is Jack Easterby, a name we didn't even know a few months ago. Easter may be in his name, but this mother licker is the opposite of a resurrection. Now, I compared Easterby to Paul Dano's character in There Will Be Blood, but after his sermons were released on Twitter, he's more like an unlovable Michael Scott. He's a man in a job he shouldn't have, who also thinks he's hilarious with the chops to be a stand-up comedian. The difference is, I think Easterby has an insatiable lust for power, whereas Michael Scott just wanted to be loved.
This is going to be awesome. I mean, we're just in the West Coast, man. It's just chill, you know what I'm saying? It's just everybody relax, like we're down 20, but it's all right, okay? Like, chill, bro. And then, like, you go down to the Midwest, right? Like, you get into the, like, the Bobby's world, don't you know? Like, you get into the don't you know? Like, don't you know we're playing Minnesota? Like, Minnesota here in the crowd.
Now, besides myself, I've never seen someone so desperate to try and get a laugh and connect with the youth.
Walked on water. Y'all think Jesus like Crip walked on water? Like he got out there, he was just like, hey, how y'all doing? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Okay, you can.
Hey, y'all, you ever think if Jesus, when he was walking on water, just did a little bit of the moonwalk? Huh? Hey, y'all, what if Jesus was doing Gangnam Style on water? Nah, that's crazy. He'd go to hell, because if Jesus was K-pop, he'd probably be a Buddhist. And that's a sin. Hey y'all, what if Jesus was from Boston?
In Boston, right? Everybody says this phrase and it's huge. It's like, yo, we gotta go park the car. Like, we gotta do what? What are you talking about? We gotta go park the car. I'm like,
any of you familiar with stereotypes based on location? If not, Jack Easterby is the right man for you. If Cal McNair just fires this guy, he might be able to keep Deshaun Watson and JJ Watt in Houston. I think it's really that simple. Maybe fire him and then hire a guy whose background is in football and not scamming people via religion.
this ain't what you looking at. What are you looking at? I'm looking at the game. I mean, there's a game. What are you looking at?
Now, longtime NFL coach Marty Schottenheimer passed away after battling Alzheimer's disease since 2014. Marty, in my opinion, was one of the most underrated, overly criticized head coaches to ever do it. All he did was get franchises to turn around and start winning football. His teams that lost in the playoffs were not a reflection of his talents as an NFL head coach. He coached the Browns, the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Washington football team, and had a losing record just twice in the 21 years he was a head coach. He was just one of 8 coaches to get to 200 wins, and honestly, if John Elway was never born, Marty probably would have coached in 3 Super Bowls. And as somebody who knows the AFC West really well, Marty Schottenheimer might be the most all-around, well-respected coach, even by fans of division rivals. Now, Pro Football Talk posted this story about Marty. In 2001, Deion Sanders retired rather than play for Marty in Washington. In 2002, Marty coached the Chargers. Washington released Deion's rights so he could join the Raiders for a Super Bowl run. Marty claimed Deion on waivers, blocking the move. That is a legendary move right there. Deion Sanders is my second all-time least favorite player, so knowing Marty kept him off of the Raiders for the Super Bowl run brings me great satisfaction. And knowing how that game played out, Deion should be thanking Marty. If you watch this channel regularly, then you know I have been raising money for the Alzheimer's Association. I want to help people struggling with this shitty disease. So far, you guys together we have raised $6,825 out of our $10,000 goal. If we get to $9,000, I will donate the final $1,000. That's how much this means to me. And of course, we will still destroy the Tom Brady Lego head in epic fashion. The Alzheimer's Association does fund research, but it also provides resources for families who have become caretakers for their loved ones. So let's get to 10K so we can help others out and really hurt Lego Tom Brady. We are so close, so if you guys can share the link, I put it in the description on your social media channels, do some advocating for the Alzheimer's Association. I will be forever in your debt.
Let's get the gleam.